There we go. It's seamless. It's fine. No one noticed. No one's here. It's fine. Okay. Welcome to It Takes a Village. Tonight with Shay Thompson, who's just pretty amazing. We're going to dive straight in and introduce everyone and everything. Rose Waterhex going crazy and gifting lots of subs to everyone. Thank you very much. Welcome everyone. I hope this is a good level of music for you. I hope that's good. I hope you're comfortable wherever you are. There's been talk of weather. That's how boring I've been. So we're going to get on with that. So welcome to It Takes a Village with me, Samantha Béart, and a beloved guest tonight, Shay Thompson. There's a bit to get through at the beginning, especially if you're new. As much as we enjoy and appreciate your dedication and your subs, this is open to everyone. We appreciate your support, but you don't have to do that. I'm doing pretty well at the moment. What with signing things on the old Streamily, things like this, these can be yours. I will sign them and they will be sent to your home. Live DJing now. Let's just look. We're going full all in on the shilling tonight. Hopefully that works. Yes, it does. You can sign up, get an autograph there if you want. I believe in like physical things, rather than just the shout outs and then sort of leading into parasocialism, maybe. So let's knock that on the head. So there's that. I'm enough of a commodity. I'm an actor. That's kind of why I don't do the whole asking for bits and cheers. I've made them prohibitively expensive. Let's hope, anyway. Let's hope I've done that. And so you're encouraged to give to charity. And this month, it's Malala Fund. International Women's Day. Let's make it International Women's Month, right? Why not? We'll talk about that in a second, and we'll introduce that. I've also been posting all sorts of thirst traps because we've got merch. I will keep saying that. We have thirst traps. 2 thirst traps this week. There might be more coming. Who knows? Let's trigger that off. Yeah, there's merch now. Correct. That's what we're doing. We say all sorts of weird things on this show, and certain slogans like join a union and radical self-care and things like that. So if you want some of that in your home, or just bring to the all-hands Zoom meeting if you want to. Don't blame me if you get fired. You're quite welcome to purchase that there. I'm off to Bradford tomorrow to do the Yorkshire Games Festival, which is really exciting. And this is coming up, Future Games Show with the internet's baby girl, Ben Starr, and me just sort of hanging around, gazing adoringly at him. That's going to be broadcast everywhere where there's internet by the looks of it, and premiering at PAX East as well. So do join if you can. It will be a good one. That's all I'm going to say. Right. So yeah, if you're wondering what the charity thing's about, I was going to give 50% of my income from streaming donations and that sort of thing to charity, but after Jeff takes 50% and tax takes their money, there's not much left. It's not worth it. I stream once a week. Hopefully you won't be forced to watch ads. We all just go for a break. So trying to keep this as democratic as possible for everybody. That's it really. So as we go into the interview, if you do subscribe or donate to the charity, you won't see an on-screen notification. That means that me and the interviewee won't be distracted by all the bings and bongs and goings-ons, but you will see your name on break and ending screens. And if you don't, I'll read them out. Right, just let me know. And our mods will be taking your questions over the break, so have a think about what you might want to ask Shay during this initial conversation. We got there, Shay. Thank you for hanging on. I'll do a quick intro. We'll get started. Are you there, Shay? Yes, you are.
I am here indeed.
Aha, looking rather
here
gorgeous.
I am with eyebrows. I promise I do have eyebrows. It
Congratulations.
looks like I don't, but I do.
Okay, that wasn't not something I really thought about. Loving your headphones.
Well, it was something I thought about. So the bleached brows is a very new look for me. And when I turned on my camera today, because I'd just been kind of working away like a hermit, I was like, oh my god, it looks like I've got no brows. So I do have them. They are.
But that's the point of bleaching them, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but in person, like there's more of a contrast. On camera, for some reason, it's like you can't tell what my expression is, which is
All right, fair.
wild.
And the whole business is here. That's what's going
It
on.
is exactly. Yeah, yeah.
You're
So
just
it's a
too
choice.
avant-garde. You're too ahead of the times. That's what it is. That's what it is. Are you well?
I am well. It's so good to see you, even
too.
if virtually.
I know.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the last couple of years seeing each other at the end of the night, going, next time, I promise.
Oh, see you.
Yeah, see you next time. So this is happening. This is the only way I can talk to you now. I have to interview live on stream. It's a bit roundabout, but there we go. Right, so I'll just give a quick intro to our guest tonight. If there's a possibility that you don't know who she is. Shay Thompson is a renowned presenter and broadcaster in the games industry, known for her charisma, warmth and professionalism. And being my friend, I've added that. Her exceptional talent has earned her a reputation as a respected member of the industry and a go-to for speaking engagements and broadcast productions. She has collaborated with esteemed brands such as BAFTA, BBC, McLaren, Xbox, Activision, Ubisoft, and many others outside the industry. Welcome. Is there anything you want to add?
And I'm a general all-around fun-time gal. I feel like it's such a serious bio, but
it is.
I like being goofy. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, you're very welcome here. You're gonna fit in just fine. I think maybe we should. Do you want to kick off the intro to the Malala Fund and?
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
it's very simple, isn't it? It's a very simple to understand kind of charity.
Exactly. I mean, as you mentioned, with International Women's Day and Month. Let's combine them. Let's make it a whole big thing.
We've made it happen.
Exactly. What better organization to support than the one that works to expand access to education for women and girls across the globe? Like the different regions like that they work in, I think is really impressive, from Mozambique to Vietnam. Like it's really, really impressive and definitely worth kicking some money to if you have the means.
Yeah. And if you don't, please RT or just like tell people, because a lot of this is like word of mouth, is finding out, and till recently I was there myself, couldn't give to anything, but the whole point of things like this is to get the word out there, to go a bit three-dimensional with this stuff when we talk about educating people, and that this is the point. It should be free as much as you can. So it's all good. So we have a QR code just above Shay over there. We should, if you're watching on desktop, there's a pop-out screen for, that might be out of date, don't use that one's dead. This is why we have contingency. We got a QR code, and we have thankfully one of the mods has just posted to the Tiltify donate button there, and I think there's the charity command, that's the word, charity command, if you want to find out more and see what's going on. As I think there's a video on there as well. So yeah, that's it really, that's it. Give if you can, if you can't, that's also cool. Stay for the lols.
Like you said, sharing is also like really important. Like I've had things that sometimes might not have always come across my radar, and if I have the means to at that time, I'll try and give as much as I can and then pass it on to the next one. Like you really, don't underestimate the power that comes with sharing.
Absolutely.
Truly.
Thank you for saying. We're going to show some of your work.
What?
It's all right. You're not going to be on camera. You can cringe away in the background, but I think this is...
I love it.
Oh, we've got a raid. Thank you to the Opera Geek, raiding with a party of 12. You're just in time. We are about to introduce our guest, the wonderful Shay Thompson. I haven't just like tonight, just like the beginning, completely unprofessional. I'm going to have to queue you up, so bear with me, chat, and bear with me, Shay. I'll be as quick as I can.
No, I love it.
I'm going to do everything live on a Mac, on OBS. We're owning it. It's all good. And yes, welcome again to the Raiders. Bear with us. Okay, so we got that. We got this. Interact. We're going to do that.
Hi, I'm Shay.
Shay Thompson.
Shay Thompson. Shay Thompson.
I am your host, Shay Thompson,
presenter, podcast host, and gamer.
and welcome to the Battle of the Mechs. I'm just waiting for Lando to show up. He's here to do a hot lap time in the 600 LT.
We'll get to see some of the most exhilarating action that Riders Republic has to offer.
Now it's time for one of TV's most iconic race circuits. It's got corners named after a shark, a windy city, and some guy from the Harry Potter movies. And for our drivers, it's a chance for them to show just how much sim racing has taught them about real racing. Gentlemen, start your... look, just don't stall the damn thing, okay? Chun-Li.
Is Chun-Li a police officer?
Works for the police force, canonically. No! Basically, you find out old guy's dead. Not just dead, but like parts have been taken for consuming in the mouth. Yeah, which is scary and kind of creepy.
Why is it you think that music scores stay with us?
Well, you spend 30 to 60 hours playing these games, and that's a lot of time for immersion, more so than you'd find on like a film score or even albums. And, you know, I find myself humming stuff all the time, and my sister's like, can you actually stop that, please?
I think the banana is very underestimated.
Oh yeah,
If you could aim that,
Like on the third lap, like just as you're about to, and then it was just, so beautiful.
Let's start from the very beginning. How did you get into games? Like, where did the sort of interest come from? What did you play to get you into
the
it?
game itself like ends up being like this really powerful and brutal exploration of like trauma, revenge, and even like closure. Weirdly enough,
yeah.
just what a mic drop. Like if this
Actually,
wasn't all rigged up,
it's a wild day today, isn't it? It's a funny Tuesday on a pandemic Tuesday. Like,
coming out with the bangers all over the place. I love to see it.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I think I killed the internet. It's one of
Oh.
these tonight. I think we're back. I'm so sorry.
Great.
I know, right? Really, really impressing everyone with my skills. Look, I'm just trying to make you relaxed by messing it up. I realised that I was on. Yeah, this is being weird. I realised that I was broadcasting off Wi-Fi, so I thought, why don't you plug in the internet to the Ethernet? And it didn't want to. So,
Oh.
so I thought I'll
Love
wait to the end of your reel and then cut, because that's the old broadcaster thing. Didn't work. So yeah, but I think we are back. Yeah, it's the resub that broke the stream. Absolutely, friend milk. It's you. Sorry, you broke everything. I think we are back. And sorry if it's laggy tonight because it doesn't want to connect to the Ethernet midstream. How dare you?
How very
Apologies.
dare it? So rude.
If it is really awful and laggy, let me know and we'll just take some time. We'll just do it in the break. Probably try and do it in the break. I'm really sorry, Shay, if I spooked you there. But
No, because I've had like internet outages like in my area, so I was like, oh my god, not again. EE, you will crumble.
no, it's me. I'm blaming Jeff, Josephine, correct?
Yeah.
and the resubbing and everything. Yeah, it was me trying to plug into the Ethernet. I was broadcasting off Wi-Fi because I'm an idiot. But yeah, apparently it's okay. It's saying it's all right. It's all right. All right, we'll have to do. If you're all happy to carry on. It was tough on carrying on. Apparently you can hear me, even if this is like in stop motion. Okay. I think we're okay. I'll keep an eye on chat. Sorry, chat. Sorry, everyone. That was a wonderful show reel. And they saw it all.
Thank you so much.
They saw it all. And then I ruined the stream. Of course.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
It's great. It's great because you can say, you know, you can say so much about someone's career, but it's great to see what they actually do and the breadth of the work you've been doing. How long have you been at it for now, presenting?
So yeah, it's wild to look back on some of that stuff because it feels like an age ago. Like some of it was kind of pre-pandemic. I started kind of dipping my toes in the presenting world in like 2019. I think that's when I got my first professional gig. And that was with McLaren. That was the thing that launched my start. I know, right? That the imposter syndrome as a result was wild.
But then everything must have been like a bit easier since then. Like,
yeah, because it was like you start, I guess, at like such a peak. It's like, oh my god, this big name brand that I've like known and followed my entire life kind of wants to work with me. It was kind of like, okay, we can only go up from here, or can you? And that was the question.
You feel comfortable after doing something such as challenging as that, and imagine high pressured. Yeah, it feels a bit easier over time.
And I learned on the job a lot. So yeah.
And is that world quite forgiving for that? World of presenting, are they forgiving of people learning on the job?
In my experience, they were, because a lot of it is just confidence, or at least the veneer of confidence. I sat there and I pretended like I knew everything that I was doing. I had to read off an auto cue, and they were like, "Have you done this before?" And I was like, "Yep." Had never seen one before in my life up until that point. Like, I knew what they were, but I'd
Yeah.
never worked with one. So a lot of it was just like that kind of confidence, and then it kind of becomes this symbiotic relationship where you're confident in yourself, so they have confidence in you, and then that builds you up, and then it kind of keeps going from there. And it ended up being like a really great feedback loop that gave me a lot of confidence for the rest of my career. Like, I'll never forget the notes of direction I got like on those shoots all those years ago.
Yeah. I'm just looking at chat, and I think we're not quite back yet. So
Oh,
what I'm going
no.
to do is I'm going to go to Be Right Back screen, if that's all right with you, and we'll just pause for a couple of minutes, because we can do that. We've got that.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
And I will try and get onto Ethernet. I don't quite know why it's not working. It gets a bit spooked here. It's like when I tried to multi-stream the other day, it wasn't having it. And as soon as we raided the channel we were sort of hosting, because you can't host traditionally anymore, it worked. And I was like, "You kidding me?"
Oh, yeah.
Bear with us, chat. I know you're saying like it's working for you now, but you weren't 2 minutes ago. So just we'll be right back. Sorry. We're back and I'm unmuted. Well done. Apparently we're happy now. Ethernet is here. We're not in stop motion. Silence in the chat. I think they're all right. Well, I'm not doing it again. We're on Ethernet. The stream manager on Twitch said it was excellent bitrate, actually. So yeah, they're happy. Yeah, I've been complimented on my eyebrows and makeup, so we're definitely at a higher bitrate. So thank you for the strange comment. In this case, I'll take it. Anyway, it's good because we kind of warmed up. We're warmed up now, and I'm freaked out, and I'm going to let you talk. Let's start at the start, shall we? I mean, we're going to be talking about games mostly. I know you've had a much broader career in presenting and everything. I imagine you grew up with games. What sort of thing did you like playing?
I have distinct memories of playing Streets of Rage on a Mega Drive. That was the big one. It was always like, that's what I want to play. Every time we had like free time at the weekend, that was the thing that I requested. And at first, like, it took me a very long time to kind of get my mind around like the dexterity needed to play games. Like, at first I just like watch other family members play them, but then I was
were
like,
they male family members by any chance?
Did
you have to fight actually to get on?
When it came time to fighting games, ironically, that was the one that we had to fight for. But
I don't know what this talk about, like video games making people violence about. I don't know where that's from.
It's just such a myth. My God.
I relied on the kindness of people's brothers, basically, because my family were not going to get me a console. I just asked because I do wonder if it can be a gendered thing sometimes. It sounds like it wasn't for you.
Not really, because my extended family, like, even though it was like two of them were boys, but then I distinctly remember my other female cousin, she was like really, really into it, and she like knew all of the back catalogue of the Sega Mega Drive, and she would chat to me about it as well. So I never really grew up thinking, oh, you can't do that because that's for boys. I was never told that. It was just, you're a weird kid. Like, I was into like comics and other things, so it was when my interest in games manifested, it was kind of like, yeah, that tracks, that makes sense.
And did that take a while? Because I think that's been a trend with our guests. It's like they've done other things, they've done other careers, the games have kind of just appeared in the console, and it might have taken some time to realize we can get involved with them ourselves.
Yeah, I'd say that was definitely the fact. I didn't think that games could be a career. I went to a very bad secondary school, like in my borough. It was like one of the worst. And so our career options were basically like, you'd be some sort of civil servant, or you'd maybe take a more academic route. And that was kind of it. Like, the idea of even making games was just so foreign to me. And that was something I really had to figure out on my own. I took a very meandering path to games. And it was only because it was like my interest and like my actual hobby that I loved doing, that I ended up making it work eventually. But it took a while to get here.
I imagine that some of that meandering path actually informed what you do, though, right? That life experience helped you. Is there anything that sticks out for you there?
So I guess yeah. I worked at HMV for a while. I think that's always the big one that I talk about. That's like I did my time in retail,
Was that the big one in
and
London, in Oxford Street?
yes,
Oh,
yes. I worked at a
amazing.
few of the branches. I gave a lot of my good years to HMV. Yeah. So I worked at quite a few of the different branches, and before the administration, I kind of like separate the timelines in my head.
Mm,
Before HMV went into administration the first time, games was still a big part of their catalog and like their offering. And so
mm,
whenever I know you always remember this, whenever customers would come in, like particularly around Christmas, like looking for a present for a family member, they go up to the guys to be like, oh, I need this game, or I need to buy someone a game. And they'd kind of be like, yeah, sure. Like some of them were some of them went into games, but a lot of them like were into music or like film
mm.
and TV. And so I would step in, like my ears would kind of perk up like a dog's, and I'd like rush over and be like, well, I'm into games, and they kind of like dismiss me almost.
That's
But
nice
then
to
I'd
hear.
know, yeah, all the time. So I'm like, it never really stops. It never really stops. It just kind of changed. Yeah, the kind of
I mean,
dismissal
there's a
around
power in
games.
being underestimated.
Mm.
Once you get over the initial irritation, it's quite fun, like just pulling the rug out from under someone. I mean, I'm kind of stuck with it myself, so I'm trying to make a virtue out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very that. And yeah, it'd be really funny like seeing their faces drop when I'd like launch into a tirade about like whatever games had just come out or like that were charting, and they're like, "Oh, you do know this." And I'm like, "Yes, that's what I've been trying to tell you this entire time." Yeah.
Oh my god, I've just remembered that Leon, who who we both gently bullied into the industry. Gentle bullying.
Yes.
We talked about this
Yes.
at length. I think worked at like GameSpot or something back in the day.
Yeah,
So you
one of
both
them.
worked
Yeah,
in
yeah.
retail and with games.
Mm.
That makes a lot of sense, because that's like the point of contact for someone who plays, right? That's the first bit
Yeah.
of the shop.
Yeah.
So from there to why presenting specifically? What was the journey into that?
The short answer is I like to talk a lot. I like to talk. And I like to think that when I talk, people listen. It was the one thing that I felt I was good at, like my whole life. It's so funny because I was kind of telling this story over the weekend. I was sort of like painfully mediocre, like in school, not really with my academics, which was kind of fine. Like English, I was like pretty good at, and chemistry randomly. But I was really mediocre with like physical stuff, and that really bothered
Hmm.
me. It really, really bothered me. Like I'd never come like dead last, but always like fourth or fifth. And it was just I used
Yeah,
to get so upset.
not
My
meddling.
mum, yeah. Just it just really I never like broke into the podium whenever it was like sports day or whatever, and it used to like really stress me out. And so I was like, okay, what do I like doing outside of kind of more physical activities? And video games seem to be the thing that kind of stuck. And then
Hmm.
English as well. And even though I
Hmm.
never pursued English like at a higher level, I never went to university or anything, I was sort of like, okay, how can I marry these two things together? And that's when the age of the internet kind of appeared to me, even though pretty much grew up on the internet and I saw people like, vlogging and doing videos, like even from like back in like 2005. It never really occurred to me to do that myself. I was like, oh, I couldn't possibly, it doesn't make sense. And then I basically found myself with a lot of free time a couple years back because I slipped my disc by sneezing, which
Oh god, that's more common
great.
than people think, though. I've heard
Yeah, it
this
really
twice
is.
already in my life.
Yeah. It's horrible. But I basically had like loads of free time because I couldn't do much. So I started like writing some scripts and I made like a little YouTube channel. And it was like very tiny. It wasn't like very good at
Mm.
like or anything. But what it did was like it sort of gave me the confidence that I can do this. I can kind of make this work and I like it and I have fun doing it. And I didn't necessarily start pursuing it then, like professionally, but it was always like in the back of my mind, like this is a potential, like in the long term. So yeah.
Brilliant.
Hmm.
Did you have any was there any? I'm just really interested because this is a world that I don't really know about. Were there any particular humans that inspired you?
Yeah, and it's so funny because I was like thinking about this person today, and then they kind of came up on like one of the social media algorithms. But I don't know if you remember Makita Oliver.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Pop
yeah,
World.
like Yeah, exactly. Like grew up like watching her and just I was like I want to do that. Like I love the way that she talks. Like I'm so compelled to listen to her. Clara Amfo as well, like that was a big one. And then sort of like looking more like in the games industry, you know, you've got your big names that everyone knows, like Lucy James, Alicia Judge. I used to watch a lot of like IGN. I used to watch a lot of like the outside Xbox crew as well, which is ironic because now like Ellen is one of my really close friends, and then like Julia Hardy. So all of these like big names that I watched and admired for so long, like just their presence and their eloquence and how articulate they were. It just it was really inspiring.
So I'm older, so I remember Violet Berlin.
Oh yeah,
She was so enthusiastic. She was like, there was no no debate as to whether she was a nerd or not. Like, you know, there were so few women presenting games. There were so few shows on games, but so few women presenting. Like, there was just no question about like this woman knew what she was talking about, and she didn't care that everyone knew she was a massive nerd.
I love that. I love that so much. And it was so encouraging to me as someone who, like, there was a time where I was like really ashamed of being a nerd, but now I'm like, no, I love it. It's great.
The nerds have inherited the earth.
Yes, no,
that's why we
truly,
give half the
like...
money to Jeff. Jeff, don't need it. Stop it. Please give
Stop
to charity if you're watching.
Oh.
I mean, you can. I'd like to tell a story of when we met.
Yes,
which
please.
was around the time, I didn't realise the time you were sort of getting into presenting. Like you sort of came across like, you know, I just take people at face value anyway, but I just assumed you'd been around for years. But I was advised, because I'd been doing it the hard way. I'd been contacting every games company, like every actor does, hoping that they're looking that day while you emailed for an actor, and it worked a couple of times, but there was nothing sustainable. And then I got the advice to go to actual physical events. And the first event I was going to go to was the London Games Festival. Couldn't afford a ticket because I was super poor, which is how I ended up doing a full-time tech job in the end. And going, right, well, I'm really going to have to do lots of voice work and like short-term projects like games, because there's no way I can get that time off to carry on with theatre and film and TV. And I went, okay, that's what we're going to be doing, at least for the next few years. So I got a ticket, I think, off Pock in Play. It was certainly like a free ticket. And I must have tweeted it, and I think you just replied. I didn't know you. You just replied. Yeah. And you said, yeah, I'm going to be there, so I'll catch you there, right? And I was like, okay. And then you did.
Like,
and it was like, welcome to games industry. And I was like, this is cool. This is amazing. And also you had your portrait up. I can't remember the name of the project.
Oh yes, Ensemble. Yes.
Ensemble.
Yes.
I was very impressed by you. But I was like, what a wonderful human. Like, you didn't know me from Adam. You didn't know what I was like. Thankfully, I'm not too much of a nightmare. But I could have been awful and really taken you for granted. And you just took me by the hand and showed me around and introduced me to people. And I thought, okay, this is very different to other forms of entertainment that I've been involved with. And I am that kind of generous person myself. And normally, like, you know, people take advantage of that, and you just clam up and you stop doing it yourself. So in terms of like the theme of the show, you're a really, really special guest, because you're the first one that just was like, yes, welcome. We are nice and kind people here. And then I watched you do, like, you presented something, you interviewed someone. So I just got to see you being excellent, basically. Your picture was up. You welcomed me like an ambassador for the entire games industry. And then you just like, showed me your funky stuff in an interview, and I was just like, wow. Shay's amazing, and we're going to be friends.
Yeah, we are going to be friends. Especially, you know what's so mad about that is, like, especially back then, I just had like no concept of, like, I just wanted to make friends, basically. I really like chatting, and I really love meeting new people. And, yeah.
And like people knew you were, and just going, oh yeah, Shay's really cool. Like, you all do. We all advocate for each other, and like even today, between some of the mods are in the US and everyone's baby girl Ben Starr, we're all excited about having you. Everyone's aware of you, especially in the UK. You go to events, I do too. It's a small community. As much as we can, we do look after each other, even when things like these redundancies are out of our hands. But like, just as friends, like, I forget that it's industry. I forget it's networking, and it's just friends now. And
it's just friends now. Yeah, I remember, like, I used to I used to always like carry cards or like always like have to think, oh, okay, like I need to be on, I need to be like working the room. And now I just like I walk in and it's like you're swarmed with hugs, like you're pulled in like a million different directions, and it feels like nice, like it feels cool. I love it. Yeah.
I love bringing people in because they think I'm exaggerating, and then they just go, "Everyone's really nice." Yeah, we
Yeah.
kill the bad ones. Like,
Yeah, no,
I didn't say
we
that.
really
I'm
do.
joking. We don't take them around the back and murder them. We're all nice people. Yeah, so I just wanted to tell that story because it's so strong in my mind. It was the first time, and you were not the only one to be like that either. You know, the sort of thing a lot of these guests on this show will have in common is that they open their hearts to me.
Yeah.
I'm not. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm not going to try and be cool about this. Like, people just accepted me, didn't know who I was, and
But
you
that's
know,
exactly why, because you wear your heart on your sleeve, like you are just this like really wonderful, giving person. Like I'm so
Stop it,
lucky
you
to
made
be
me
your
cry.
friend.
Don't you make
Yeah.
me cry? How dare you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You keep right. Well, I've been told we have to go to ads, so I'm gonna have a little cry there. And when I'm a little less flustered, we're going to come back. Please stay tuned. We did have some really lovely donations come in. I think it was like $150. By the way, I completely forgot because I was a bit flustered with the earlier technical difficulties. But please continue to be wholesome and wonderful. And we'll be back in about 5 minutes, I think. So go do what you need to do. Chill. Go to the loo. Treat yourself. Drink some water.
Stretch your
Those two
legs.
things are related. No one watches ads here. Unless you want to. Anyway, see you soon. Hello. Loads of you gave very generously during that break, and you know, in typical Takes a Village fashion, everything's broken. Not all of that's my fault. So I've got Tiltify open, and I'm just going to read some tings. Yeah, we've had Viking Nerd. Great cause. Happy International Women's Month. Thank you. Thanks for helping us make that a thing. Troutworthy. Thank you very much. Picaro Persona. Gave a lot 5 minutes ago. Thank you. Hopefully by the end of the show it will refresh, or I will refresh it manually, or at the very least you can see all these messages and donations and who gave them and what amounts on. If you hit the charity command, you'll see all that. It's quite a nice Tiltify have a really nice thing going on. Sister Nata, new month, same me, thank you. Excellent cause, providing opportunities around the world. Thank you very much, all of you, for those very generous donations. I really appreciate it. I'm sure Malala Fund do too. Thank you. Yeah, so we've had to take an early ad break because I probably broke. Jeff's heard me and he's trying to sabotage this, and you know, he gets a bit jealous and he gets a bit shady. So whatever, Jeff.
Terrible.
I'm gonna leave him on read. We're really careful. It's in the T's and C's. I can't be like say anything rude. I'll just say we're rivals, right? We're frenemies. That's what it is.
Frenemies.
Like him, really. Honest, Jeff.
Besties.
So we were just talking a little bit in the break about the fact. Well, you've done loads of different things, but you've also streamed yourself. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, streaming, eh? That old chestnut. I just before I started streaming, and it was actually how I got on the radar of the production company that I then went on to work with. I streamed in-house for Xbox back when Mixer. Am I allowed to say that on Twitch? Hopefully they don't like.
You can say what you
snipe the stream.
like. You can say
Yeah.
like here.
Back on Mixer when that was a thing. Rip. I streamed for Xbox, and so my job was from 9 till 5 every single day. I would play whatever games Xbox was trying to kind of showcase and advertise. So for a very long time, I played a lot of PUBG, Fallout 76, and Forza Horizon 4, I think it was. Yeah, hours, hundreds of hours.
I'm expecting to say you got very good at it.
You'd think that, right? In my tenure, my PUBG tenure, I think I got one solo. What's it?
I don't play any of these
chicken
games.
dinner?
I have no idea. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
smile while you say,
Yeah, smile and
sounds
nod.
great.
Okay,
I mean, there's a lot
yeah.
of look. There's a lot of 12-year-olds out there
Yeah.
that are able
Well,
to
this
put
was the
the
thing.
the time in.
The
to get in. Like, even before you
time.
start talking about childlike reflexes, the actual time it takes to get this muscle memory down. That's all I'm going to say, and I'm sticking with it.
It was a lot, and PUBG is not an easy game. Of all the kind of battle royales, PUBG was the hardest one, I think. And It showed. I was basically like the Susan Lucci of PUBG, just always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I'd always get like second
Oh,
place. Again, the mediocrity.
yeah. Second place. You know, you've medalled. You've
Yeah,
medalled.
at least to be fair, I was meddling then. And then I basically I got that chicken dinner, and there was a big day in the office. Like everyone was watching, so there was screens outside of the little booth that I
Oh
was
my! So
playing
there's
in.
a lot of pressure on.
So much pressure.
So
And I
much
think that
pressure. I
made it
think that's
even
the important
worse.
bit here. Yeah.
It made it
Yeah.
even worse. And then this day, I will literally never forget this day. It's one of my career highlights. So I'm playing PUBG. I'm kind of going through the motions. Everyone's getting whittled down. It's me and like this guy. We're like 1v1ing. That day in the office, basically everybody was in because they were doing a show. I used to work at a production agency, so everyone was in. A client was in. For loads of people in the office. So then they're watching me play, and I'm just like, oh, here we go. Everyone's watching, and I'm gonna die. But then I didn't die, and I won. And I almost said some words that I definitely wasn't allowed to say, but that's because like my palms were sweaty, my heart was beating. It was a lot. It was a big day.
There's the
Yeah.
whole world watching forever as well, and then you've got humans
Exactly.
in the room with you that matter to
Yeah.
you. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Would you?
it
Do
was
you
a
think
lot.
you go back to streaming again?
Um.
Assuming there isn't lots of people live watching you in the room as well.
Well, it definitely takes the pressure off. You know what? There is a lot of streaming that I really loved, like just kind of being able to kind of connect with people in real time, give or take 9 seconds. I think one thing that I found not intimidating, but just kind of hard sometimes, and it didn't help that I was basically supposed to be this very corporate voice, but I
Mm.
was still like selling my personality, but like in a very corporate kind of edited way. Like I wasn't allowed to like say my name, like my real name. Yeah, it was really
So
weird.
what?
So I wasn't
Sorry,
allowed to say my
how
name.
did you refer to yourself in the context?
So I think I was using my Xbox handle at the
Oh
time. Yeah.
wow. Oh, that
Yeah.
is
So I
weird.
was
Mm.
yeah. So it was, and obviously it's very different to like streaming on your kind of on your own.
But even then, we've talked about, well, we've alluded to, you know, parasocialism, and
Yeah.
also hit the parasocialism command in the chat if you want to see the peer-reviewed paper that I keep referring to, and why I'm not following any advice that Twitch give me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we've talked about that, keeping yourself safe, but also the difference between the public, the personal, and the private. And I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
when we're trying to be authentic, and especially if we've grown up around YouTubers who spill everything, you know,
Yeah.
the private life is the currency. I think we have
Yeah.
to protect ourselves, but there's no guide. There's nothing officially written down. There's no welcome to online fame.
No.
Here's some help for you. Here's some guidelines. Here's some advice. There's nothing like that, and people have to kind of work that one out for yourself. And what a trial by fire that you
Yeah. Yeah.
had,
It
because
really
your
is.
actual job.
Yeah, it was my literal 9 to 5. And I remember like sometimes I'd get like, because you could like whisper on Mixer, so I get like whispers from people who were like, oh my god, like, you know, I really love what you do, or like, can you give me like life advice and stuff like this. And I was just like, I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. I cannot do that.
Standing here trying to
Yeah.
play PUBG.
Trying to play PUBG
Stop
badly.
looking at me.
Please. And then I remember like before, because I sort of I started like my own Twitch channel, and I would like stream on there occasionally, and like if I too would have technical difficulties, so I'm very very familiar with those. Like if I couldn't do that and like it made me really anxious and then I couldn't stream that day, I'd feel like I let people down.
Yeah.
And I just realized I was taking on like such an emotional burden that I didn't necessarily love. But I don't know, like nowadays, like presenters, content creators, everything's getting like really muddled, and like,
There are
the line
so
is blurring.
many
Yeah. So it's
skills
like,
involved,
yeah,
right? You are
exactly.
one person broadcasting house. You know, I have so much
Yep.
respect
Yeah.
for streamers doing this
Mm.
myself, and I do have help. You know, I have a
Yeah.
very experienced mod team and a producer for this show to help me shape it and my vision, what I want to do. But you know, back in the day, you had one job, which was to read the auto cue. That was it.
Yeah, that was it. That was
and,
it.
and lots of people were employed. Maybe that's the key. Lots of people were employed to do specialist jobs, so it all looked
Yeah.
very good, and it wasn't charming. I don't think it was charming me going off air, but it wasn't so forgivable if you went off air because there were lots of people involved, and it's just it's just wild how many skills are involved in this, as well as the fact it's so personal.
Yes.
Isn't that protection that again you would have as a presenter? You'd have a separate writer, you know, crafting that
Yeah.
online TV persona, whatever it is. So
Exactly.
yeah. So there's a lot
It's
of reminiscing about getting beaten by 12-year-olds on
it's
online.
humbling.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
yeah, it's it certainly is.
Yep.
To move on to something a bit slightly different, and I've just remembered this. You were a model for Dove, and I didn't know that was coming, and I loved it. You were modeling Bantu knots, is that right? If do I remember it
Yes,
right?
I
You were so
was.
cute.
Oh my god.
You were
I
so
love
cute.
this.
And I think at the same week we were talking about like black hair representation in video games as well.
Yeah.
I mean I'm going to ask about like how did that? I mean you've modelled before. We've seen you modelling peripherals. I think like
Yes, yeah.
I can't remember the name of the company, but I saw you do it. And I thought yes.
Yeah.
Oh, is it that?
Yeah,
I was asked
Logitech.
what those were. What are they?
They are the Logitech headphones, G733. Yes, that's correct.
There's a
My
lovely ad
memory.
of you on. Again, I didn't know that was coming, so you just popped up one day. Like, hello,
There he
friend.
is.
And then with Dove as well, which was just really amazing.
Yeah.
Has anything sort of come of that apart from everyone telling you how gorgeous and natural that you
Great
are?
I am. No, so yeah, it was a really cool project, and like how it came together was like really roundabout. So they were asking for people who had an interest in games. So I was like, listen, I have like more than an interest in games, like games of my whole dang life. Like so I went through kind of a traditional casting process, a lot of it. I like to think I kind of secured my position within the entire campaign because of just how passionately I was able to speak about my love of games, my love of like natural hair, my own natural hair journey, and how these two things have kind of crossed paths. Because yeah, it sucks not having representation for yourself in video games, especially when I worked so hard to like work on the self-love of my own natural hair. And yeah, and it was like a really big production day. It was a lot of waiting, a lot of pictures that I had to take of my hair so they could like scan me into the game and stuff, or into to be like 3D modeled. It was very involved and just super cool. Super cool.
So
Yeah.
cool. I hope there's some more stuff like that sort of coming generally to the games industry. 'Cause we know it needs it.
Too.
But I know
Isn't it so wild? Sorry.
No, I was just thinking that
Yeah.
you know, last sort of big equity meeting I went to, it was only a couple of years ago, and it was sort of full of black female actors just saying to this day they're kind of left to it. You know, they're not the hair and makeup people aren't trained, like maybe makeup but not hair, and it'll be
Yeah.
a surprise. You'll think you're being looked after. You've got your call sheet. It's all on there. And my God, if you haven't brought your products with you, and even if you have, like, are you going to do it as well as a hairdresser? Like, and then it's on you. You're the one that gets into
Yeah.
trouble. Like, it's just, I've just heard all these horror stories, and it's starting to change a little bit in film and TV.
Yeah.
But the fact that even in something that's animated, we're having to work so hard to get this change, and you just draw it. You just draw it.
Just draw
There's
it.
pictures out there.
Yeah, there's
Beautiful
loads of
pictures of Shay.
guys. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there was a whole thing about like that one male haircut, right?
Oh my god, I've
Killmonger.
been meaning to make a video about this because yeah, that conversation in and of itself has layers. I'm just like, they're like, black hair is so versatile, like it can do so much, and yet reaching for that one thing,
hairstyle.
I'm like, guys, we can be better than this. Like, and yeah, you can like show off your skills as a modeler, as an artist, like so much more if you just like look outside and just do a little bit of research. Honestly, yeah,
That does concern me.
It
We
does,
try and
it
talk about
does.
representation on here, and you're like, you could literally look at pictures of humans. It's all good.
Yeah, well, that's why the Dove project is so cool, because it wasn't just like the 3 models looking great. It was like, so there's this entire resource now that has all of the different hairstyles that you know that people can use as a reference guide. So I really hope people in the industry use it. It's kind of wild that it took like a non-endemic company to make that happen, but
But I'm
hey,
glad that they cross over, because they should cross over, and it shouldn't just be, oh well, you know, games got it right, but film and TV need a better work, or like you know, just commercials or whatever. Do you know off the top of your head where people can look up that resource?
I will
Have
find
a
it. I
think.
posted it.
If you can find it in the
Yes.
next break or something.
Okay, cool.
Don't worry
I'll do
about it
that.
right now. Sorry to put you on the spot. It's just something that occurred
No,
to me.
no,
I was
no.
like, I meant to ask you about it, and I think I sent you
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a retweet and a like, and that was the end of that. And I didn't even, because we don't see each other for months. So
Yeah.
I forgot. Sorry.
We're gonna be better about that this year.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Viking Nerd says at this point, any claims that it's too challenging are intentionally dishonest, and it's not okay. Yes.
Yep. 100%.
Yep.
100%.
Agree.
It's just not okay. No.
So what's coming up for you at the moment? Is there anything you can talk about?
So, I am in the process of making a little interview series of my own. Yeah, it's very exciting. Very, very
And Shay
exciting.
knows what she's doing.
So do you, though. I'm like, you keep
I'm
asking
cheating.
about
I'm
tips.
talking
I'm
to
like,
my friends.
I mean, I will be as well, basically. But I'm gonna kind of pretend that they're not my friends.
Oh, layers, like it. Can you tell us more,
layers.
or is it still
Yes.
early days?
Yeah, I can. It's still very early days, but like ramping up to actually going into full production and launching at the end of April, which is very exciting.
Soon.
Yes.
Where can we catch
Um,
it?
so the full thing will be on YouTube, and it will be like spliced up on social media for people to kind of digest and kind of get an idea and like a taste for it. But essentially, it will be shot in loading bar. Yeah, so it'll be like face to face and in person. Because first of all, I think I just shine in person. Like
think you
I
do.
like to think.
That's why I
Yes,
miss you so much.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh, Loading Bar is a lot of Americans in, and there's people from all over the world here. Loading Bar is a games-themed restaurant bar. There's a few of them in the
Yeah.
UK, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah,
really cool.
exactly.
And they have like
Yeah.
they have themed cocktails as well. So
Yes.
there's no
Exactly.
excuse not to go there. It's great. Yeah. I've just had
Yeah.
someone
So I'm
say it, Loading Bar's awesome.
Yeah, it is
Never
awesome.
bite
So I'm basically going to be taking really interesting games folk from in and outside of the industry. So your voice actors, artists who have used video games in their work, basically like getting like high profile video game fans. I'm going to be taking them out for a drink. We're going to chat it up. I'm going to ask them some really nice, intimate questions. And it's so that people outside of the industry looking in can kind of get an idea for what this industry is like. But then it's also a way for long-time video game fans to kind of connect with their favorites a lot deeper and a lot better than they might have done previously. So yeah, it's really
That's
exciting.
great. I love it. I've had a lot of positive attention on this, not because of like any of the acting stuff I've done, but because I'm one of a few people, I guess, with an audience this big, because I think that's what it is people documenting the games industry. They're just not known, but like one of the few actually documenting the games industry. So the more of us that do it, the better. You know, I was playing the making of Karakatea. I don't know if you know it at all, but it's basically it's a director's commentary. If you don't know it, it's the guy that made. Sorry, I'm going to get crucified in the comments now. It's the guy that ended up making Prince of Persia, but this was the very first game that he made and he sold, and it's full of all his letters, fan letters from people who are very famous now, and behind the scenes stuff. His dad was the composer for it as well, so they had a proper old chat and reminisce about that. And I just thought, oh my god, there's nothing like, there's no equivalent of the director's commentary. There's I mean, even with being on a big game, I was trying to explain it to somebody. A doctor was because they knew I was going to stuff, but they don't know who the heck I am, right? And I'm going, I'm off Vegas doing the dice, or BAFTA, blah blah blah. And I said, well, like with this particular with Baldur's Gate 3, like imagine it's Marvel, right? Because you've got this ensemble cast, and it's as big as it is. This game is as big as a Marvel movie, and there's no press, there's no interviews, there's no junket. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. And yet the same numbers of people are watching, are playing, and are spending the same money, if not more, sometimes. And you don't know who we are. And the doctor just went, oh, so you're invisible. Yeah. Yeah. We are. And that's just the actors. And we are put on pedestal. That's kind of why this came out, was because I was suddenly getting all this attention as if I'd done everything by myself. I hadn't, obviously. And it was just like all the people, not only that make games, but people who've also endorsed me, because we are a community, we are a network. And I think, I mean, the people keep coming back every time I do one of these, and they watch on YouTube in huge numbers, and I think there is an interest. And it was just a surprise that I didn't really think about it as like documenting the games industry in the UK, because that's what it is. And I'm really excited to see what an actual professional can come up with. And we'll have to do Village News. Just keep us updated, and we'll spam that all over the streams and make sure everybody's well, because everyone is in love with you because they're sensible. Basically, I was watching the chat. They were very sensible today. That's really good. I'm looking forward to that. That's less than 2 months away, right?
Yeah. So it's work, a lot of late nights, a lot of researching, but it's nice because, you know, my career as a presenter up until this point and don't get me wrong, I have loved every single project I've worked on, but I've essentially been like a microphone for other things, you know, whether it's McLaren, whether it's Logitech, like, you know, I'm speaking for something or on behalf of something. So this will be something that is like completely like my idea that I've taken and developed and worked on myself. So it's really exciting in that aspect. But then, like you said, I'm so passionate about like sort of archiving these things. A couple of people in the chat have mentioned like director's cuts and commentaries, and like that's one of my favorite things. I own a lot of Blu-rays and DVDs, HMV. And one thing I used to love doing is just like watching them, like the commentary, and just hearing like all of the little like tidbits that you think, you know, that might not matter, but I'm like, no, that matters to me. And just like being able to add my voice to the games industry equivalent is not like an opportunity I take lightly. That's why I've like worked so hard on wanting to like craft this idea and make it as great and creative as possible. So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, you're pioneering, like in our own ways. My very amateur in the back of my bedroom way, you know, I'm sort of doing it myself because it means a lot to me to make sure these people, these stories aren't forgotten. And I grew up on all those behind the scenes kind of. I know the amount of people that I know personally that went into special effects in the movie industry because they showed you how it was done. You know, they didn't grow up thinking, oh, the alien just turns up, right?
Yeah.
Just turns out it was like some sort of magic, or was it a puppet and that? And it's like it was like a 7-foot dude in a suit, by the way, if you're interested. But it's, you know, just incredible, like, you know, cinematography, like lighting, all these jobs that means, you know, that are part of the movie industry. I think it's just a real shame that we're getting to the point now where people are gonna age out. You know, they won't be around to tell their story anymore, and it's tragic. Considering as well how popular these games are. This isn't just like a nice to have a nerd thing. This is absolutely necessary. Music industry documents itself in a very unofficial kind of way, but they do it as documentaries. I think we need more stuff, but we're doing it, right? You mean
We're doing it. We're doing it.
Boss level at the enemy as well. They're doing it. That's 3 of us.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
there will be stuff
I mean,
in
there's
America as well, and there's podcasts in it, and we are
there's like
trying,
no clip. There's My Perfect Console. There are all of these things like emerging, and I think it's really important to add our voices to it, and not because I think some people like to really capitalize on the idea of I started this thing, I pioneered this thing. And I'm
the
just
auteur,
like,
the auteur
no,
games
and
maker.
I'm just like,
We're trying to smash that one here.
No. Like it's like we can all kind of add our voice and we can all contribute to it in a really special way. And I think that makes me really happy, especially because so many of these stories like deserve to be told. Like when I think of like so many of my favorite games, I'm like, how did that come to be? And then you try and find something, it's like, there should be more of that.
I can't wait. And chat can't wait either. Like everyone's really excited about this. So please keep us in touch, because we'll give you some full-on shout out, and I'll make sure I'm plugged into Ethernet next time as well. So it's great. So we've been talking about like all the ways you've been advocating for other people. You've been speaking on other people's behalf as a presenter. Who advocates for Shay? Who looks after you? Who's in your village?
Who looks after me? Who's in my village? I mean, if you can tell, you, of course, so many people that I've bumped into, and it was just like, Sam spoke very highly of you, and it's just, I don't take that lightly. It always means a lot to me.
Comes from a place of truth.
It's very kind, but also like, what I'm about to say, it's not because I don't believe in myself. I believe in myself, maybe a bit too much, but a lot of my career, a lot of my career I can attribute and kind of thank like some very key folk. They like advocated for me in rooms that I had no dream of touching. Mel Phillips, she used to work at BAFTA. Now she is off doing like amazing freelance things. She used to run the kind of games arm of BAFTA.
Yeah, she used to run something called BAFTA Crew, which has now become BAFTA Connect. But BAFTA Crew is basically an outreach thing to encourage more games people into BAFTA. The reason we talk about BAFTA, so this is for the viewers more than you. The reason we talk about BAFTA of course, so much is because they are the only body of that magnitude that are representing in any way. That's it. That's our option. And BAFTA's a charity. It's an arts charity. People think of the awards all the time, but it's an arts charity. And the games division is like a couple of people, isn't it? It's Luke and Grace, and that's kind of it. But they created Connect, which was as closer to membership. But back in the day, this was BAFTA Crew, which a lot of us know each other from. And I've just watched people grow and grow from that. It's just amazing. And because time is so short in the games industry, like 4 or 5 years, someone's at mid-level. When in another industry, they're still a baby. They're still starting out. So Mel's incredible. Yeah, and she's moved on, and she's started her own company and everything. And I've enjoyed watching her thrive.
yeah, she's incredible. Like she really kind of fought for me to host a lot of panels like back then, and at that time I think I was still streaming for Xbox, so that was it. So all she really knew of me was, oh, this is a person that can talk live on stream, and that was it. And she let me host this kind of smaller event. I didn't realize now, but I'm like, now that I look back, it's very painfully obvious that was like my kind of trial run. So it was a very small event in a pub actually, and it was after like a BAFTA, like a main kind of talk, and it was like a kind of break off thing for that. So I just hosted like this conversation, and lo and behold, like a month later, BAFTA were hosting a series of panels, and she asked me to host a couple of them, and that was how I got on like other people's radar for kind of in-person live panel moderating. So that was someone that very much advocated for me. And then Ellen Rose, who a lot of people might know from Outside Xbox and Outside Extra and Oxventure
And
as well.
Oxventure, our first guest was
Yes.
Johnny Chiodini, who's the DM
Oh,
for
of
that game. So
course.
we really
Amazing.
do
Yes.
all know each other. There's only 10 of
Yeah.
us in the games industry making
Basically,
games, by the
yeah.
way.
2 scoops of people. And yeah, she passed my details along to the production agency I ended up working for. And yeah, she
Amazing.
spoke really highly of me, and yeah, to this day I still have like a really good relationship with them. And
So in case
yeah,
like chat doesn't know who that is, right? That's a presenter advocating for another presenter. Right? This doesn't happen, does it? Outside of this sort of, we're all competitive. Like even non-presenters probably wouldn't help you out because everyone's so terrified of, I don't know what they're terrified of, but they
conceding
feel a lot of
ground. Yeah, exactly.
She's
But
great.
he really is.
Big
and
fan.
yeah, massive fan.
That's a great answer. I'm glad I know them both.
Yeah. Well, I'd actually be surprised if you didn't, because again, 2 scoops of people.
I'd be like, hang on a sec, right? I've just said that you introduced me to everyone. Who are these people? I'll tell you what, they came back to BAFTA in the talks. Like they gave me, I did a chat LGBTQ month, and it was a couple of weeks before I was allowed to say that I was in Baldur's Gate, right? Because I was going to go, no, there's characters happy endings who are queer. No, really, we've got them. But then I couldn't say. I didn't know it was 2 weeks. It was just the scheduling. But my point is, they had me on as a panelist before I'd done any big work. They just had me on. They believed in me, and it just blew me away. And again, like talking about BAFTA, the charity, some people hear like awards is BAFTA as the arts charity. Like we talk to each other as peers, don't we? And then I think that really helps with that self-confidence. You go, oh, I am part of the group. People will come up to you and remember you years to come and go, that talk did this for me, and you go, oh, okay.
or like, oh yeah, I saw you talk and you were really good. Or yeah, and like I've had some people that I've just been like so taken away. I was like, you know who I am, like me. And it's again just, like high key, like and it's so humbling and just like so grounding. Just looking back on my life and like previous years in my career, just like thinking I never thought I would get to this point, and yet I'm here and it feels so normal and so nice. So nice. Yeah.
That's great. It's great, and long may it continue. The very last time, this was a couple of nights ago, our BAFTA monthly meetup thing, which we bring guests to, we introduce new people in, and they go, no, it really is nice here. Some guy came up to me and said he loved Karlach and was really sweet, and then someone properly introduced him to me and said, oh, he worked on Disco Elysium. So my jaw hit the floor because he said to me like, oh, you're probably one of the best characters in a game ever, and I was like, you helped write the best game ever, so
like
I just died. I was like, and we just saw both screaming in each other's face. It was gorgeous. I loved it. Awful.
Love those moments.
But yeah, it goes always like, and it's great. We are the people that are making these games, and we get to celebrate each other in person, and it's nice that there is an interest from gamers, from people watching the streams like this. They really do want to, if anyone, I'm sure, like, because I'm self-funding, but like if you've got a situation where you've got sponsorship and someone is saying like, well, prove to me someone's interested. Well, there is interest. There really is. People do like knowing how this sort of stuff is made. We talked a little bit about being a freelancer. I'm a freelancer too, obviously. And there's just something of a little bit of being on the outside sometimes, and not being a dev.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to share about that, or any wisdom you can impart to? I'm sure there's lots of freelancers in chat.
Yeah, because sometimes like I will get introduced to people and they're kind of like, I don't know how to quantify what it is that you do, and I kind of just have to say, well, think football punditry but for video games. And they're like, oh, so you're a caster? I'm like, no, I'm not a caster. I'm like, okay, maybe that isn't the best
Watch
description.
this.
I literally do that every time.
You need it
yeah,
queued up on your
it is.
phone. And you just,
Yeah, I'm just like just watch, just see the thing. So it is a bit funny, especially like for a while I was kind of like, am I the games industry? Would I call myself games? And I'm just like, okay. But then yeah, people are like, oh, so what have you made? I'm like, no, it's not like that. So I'm in a very, very gray area. I think where I've sort of landed on is I am in games, but I'm also in media. And people are multifaceted. And I'd like to consider that I'm one of them.
oh, you certainly
So
are.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like even within your interests, let alone your personality. Like,
Yeah.
there's obviously like that curiosity, and that's why
Mm.
we like more people like you in this industry, because I think I've never met so many people, like it's particularly games. People coming from different, completely different disciplines, and they've normally, everyone so far on this has had a different life before they've got into games, and they'll absolutely be pulling in that experience. And they wear all the hats anyway. The devs have to wear all the different hats, so it's a really special industry. And then people are kind on top of it. It's amazing. The people that come to our socials. And we haven't eaten. We don't kill them really, but we do. We eat them out the window if they're bad.
Yeah.
But they won't last very long, because it's not going to work. You can't fake that kind of thing for very long.
No, and also it's just not worth it. Like I sort of
So much
dabbled
energy.
in, it really is. I dabbled in fashion for a little while, and I was just like the kind of trying to keep up appearances is just so exhausting. I don't have time for it. I don't have patience. Like, and also like I just can't be bothered to be mysterious. I start talking and it's like all the veneer of mystery
We're
just
all
like melts
nerds.
away.
It's what it is. We're all
Like-
massive nerds, and we're in a safe
Like-
space with others, and it's just we just egg
Yeah.
each other on.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, none of that, please.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing it. I'm talking unions. I'm in equity. I don't know if you're part of a union or you have any sort of protection or legal protection, or just camaraderie. How can someone in your role as a presenter mainly like better advocate for themselves? Is the answer just unions?
Yes. Yeah. Basically, yeah. Yeah, being freelance and being in this weird kind of like tenuous gray area of the industry means that like there aren't necessarily a lot of things to protect me, because it's not like I work for a company anymore. But I'm with Beck2, so that's
Bectu's the better one.
Oh.
Bectu's the better one. So in theatre, so Beck2 for me, in my experience, was all the stage management types, right? Everyone that works and supports me in theatre will be Beck2. And the reason we got breaks as performers, not because of the director wanted to, it was because of Beck2, because they had really specific rules about dinner breaks, how long those are, what happens. So what happened is the lights just get turned off and everyone walks out. So we all, as actors, benefited from that. Like it just nothing was going to happen for the next half hour.
Wild.
And he went, thank you for having a stronger union than us. And so we were sort of carried along. So I have a lot of respect for Beck2, because you managed to get some. So I know that it crosses into journalism and all sorts, doesn't it? I know
exactly.
like at Pit Stop I was telling them, bless them, baby mocap engineers that have never seen anyone speak truth to power successfully, who have no idea even about unions, are saying like Beck2 because like any of you could work, like is there anything to stop you working in the film industry with the skills that you have? And they were like, no, it's total crossover. I went, right, Beck2, please. I haven't checked in on them. Stop bullying them. Bullying them gently, chat. Bullying them gently. It's all right when it's gentle.
It's suggesting. Yeah.
Repeatedly until they do it. Hi, Leon Killing. Leon, we need more people like you.
Yes.
Oh,
an angel.
See, you've covered so many areas. Are there any, like Alexander the Great, are there any more worlds to conquer?
Well, you asked me earlier one question that I think is a great question. What is something that you wished people asked you?
Yeah.
I have a long list. I don't. It's just two things. I wish more people asked me about my hair. I always change my hair. I change my hair with the phases of the moon. That makes it sound more official than it is. I don't.
It's just once a month, every 28 days.
No, I basically just get really bored. I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, no more. Enough. We need to change it. Which is why I bleach my brows. And I also wish people asked me, to be fair, this was like a really fun question I came up with. Is like, what job would you have? And actually I can pose this to you and the chat. What job would you have after the revolution?
I mean, I think it's coming, so we're all being forced to think about this.
Well, yes, yeah.
With the
do
games
some
industry falling apart.
career pondering, post-revolution jobs.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'd get really into dentistry. I really like teeth, so
Good for you. I'd hate that
Thank
job, so
you.
thank you for stepping up.
doing my duty.
I'd be annoyed that like people aren't taking my advice. I'd be like, I told
Yeah,
you.
I would be
Now
too.
pay
But
me.
I strongly suggest is what I did.
Strongly suggest.
is what I'd use.
I mean, I'd quite like a tech job that was fulfilling and didn't feel pointless. That'd be good. I loved making my own projects. I love doing tech. What do you call it? Hackathons. I was thinking game jams, but the equivalent is a hackathon. And it's always like something for the betterment of society. You would work it out. You'd work on it for 48 hours or whatever. Then you present it, and you may or may not win a prize. And then normally what would happen is someone would ask like, "Would you like more money to carry this on?" And it would be a short project, and that it was never for profit. It was always for fun. And then you get the job in tech, because of course that would help you get the job in tech, and it's nothing like that. Nothing like that. It was really miserable. So much money, and I was so miserable. But if I could have a well-paid tech job that means that keeps my mental health in check, that would be really good. I'll go back to that. I know enough about like cloud servers and infrastructure as code. Someone in chat knows what I'm talking about.
Heck yeah.
Not front end. I haven't got a design bone in my body. That's great. Thank you. That's my questions, because my God, I've nattered at you, but like we've had months to catch up on. So
yeah. Are you kidding? I don't stop talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect guest. Perfect guest. Give me long answers. Give me everything. Oh yeah, we want to hear it all. Like chat are loving it as well, because they're sensible, as we've said. One of my mods has just messaged me back to is my union. They're great. So there you go.
Good.
If you're in the UK and you know what we're talking about and you're not a member, please join.
Yes, do.
So we do have some questions coming in. I know our adverts are a little bit off today, so we're just gonna take that as it comes. I don't know if you've got the document in front of you, Shay.
I do indeed. Yes.
Excellent. I mean, I think that first one's a great one to start on, if that's okay.
Yeah. What are my
8-bit
top tips?
Bonello
Yeah.
says, I have a question for Shay, which is good. Don't ask me about this. I don't know. What are your top tips for getting into presenting?
For getting into presenting, okay, things have changed a little bit. Like even in the 5-6 years that I started like getting in, before it was like you would show very clearly somewhere on, let's say, a social media site how like what kind of interviewing skills you had, or like what interest of like presenting you had, like whether that was kind of long form content on YouTube or if it was like interviewing and stuff. And that would be a way to kind of get some interest in you as a presenter, and then you kind of go from there. And that's different from like what it was 5 years before that. Nowadays, if you have a big social media platform, that is enough. And I don't say that to be denigrating. I just say that like very literally. Especially in this age of like virality, that seems to be the biggest thing. I think working on your craft as a presenter, so getting used to just talking, filling time, talking to time, whether it's like 1 minute, 3.5 minutes, that sort of thing, being able to like project and like talk very confidently and articulately, that's all very, very crucial. But I guess something a bit more tangible is just having an online portfolio of sorts. I'd like to say and like to have a belief that social media numbers won't matter as much as they maybe have in the past. So as long as you're just like doing it regularly and getting it out there, it doesn't matter how many eyes, you never know who is watching. Just do the thing. And that's like advice that I'm still taking like for myself. So that's how you know it's
great
good.
life advice. Do the thing. It's so easy to get stuck in a rut, isn't it? And I know the motto is feel the fear and do it anyway, but in social media that can go quite far.
Yes.
Don't always do the thing when it's particularly in social media. Is there any particular platform you'd recommend, or is it just hit them all?
I guess hit them all. I guess TikTok seems to be the big one. I randomly had a video. It didn't go viral, but it got some traction just because I was talking about like interviewing and like a big interview no. that I thought was just not good. But then I was also like, why is this the video that's getting traction? Because I'm being negative about someone else's work? That doesn't feel nice. But yeah, TikTok seems to be the one. There's loads of eyes on there. You never know who's watching. So yeah, that's where I'm going to be posting my clips for my upcoming show. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we've been posting your handles in chat as well.
it's very kind.
All the way through. It's on a timer. It's called Nightbot. It's good. I also have human mods who are amazing. Hello, human mods. Thank you for everything you do.
Thanks, guys.
Josephine Baird, who I think was our last villager some time ago, poses this question for you. I found it so hard to project confidence in the things I knew or had passion for. You said how that was key to putting others at ease. Do you have any suggestions on how to do so to help yourself and others be confident as a host?
This is going to sound really ridiculous, but I spent a lot of time talking to myself, to the point where I have to stop doing it in public because I will just randomly like talk and I'm like, nope, that's meant to be a thought. But I spend a lot of the time just kind of sat in front of the mirror, kind of going over stuff, and like just talking helps to build my confidence. I believe it or not, I used to be a very, very shy child and teenager, and it was because I never really got the opportunity to use my voice very much. But just but just talking a lot more like has helped, and like I have like a little like a stand that I always have my phone on. So sometimes if I'm if I'm prepping for a job or something, I'll kind of put my phone in front of me. I'll hit record, and it's not something I necessarily share with people, but just to kind of like brush up on my skills and just get used to talking for different amounts of time. And like if I think I'm being too vague about something or feel like I'm not getting my point across, then I'll kind of write down what it is I'm trying to say, and then I'll go at it again. And it's just getting into the habit of doing that a couple of times a week. And then if you can share that with friends, they might offer you advice, and then it kind of becomes this feedback loop. I know that can be a bit daunting, but honestly,
less
just
daunting than sticking it on TikTok, right? And getting
True.
comments.
Very, very true.
Because sometimes you do things that are obvious to people but not obvious to you, right? I'd rather have that pointed out by a friend or family member than the internet.
I remember the first bit of feedback I got when I was presenting with McLaren, actually, is that I one of my strengths is that I make everything sound really natural because I treat everything like it's a conversation with a friend. But where I was trying to do that in this very specific curated way, I'd start every single sentence with so. And I remember my partner at the time made this kind of supercut of the first few episodes of the McLaren show that I did, and it was just like how many times I said so, and I was like,
oh no,
that's not.
No one wants that.
I
Why
was
would
like,
they do that?
to be fair, it sounds horrible, but it actually helped me a lot. I was like, wow. Yeah, tough love. Very, very tough love.
I mean, I do it a lot as well. I say so. Yeah, like the vocal tics,
so.
things that make us feel safe, rather than going, or just breathing.
Yeah.
But no, that's really good, because I think, like, as an actor, I'm always talking about the craft. People think about the end result, but I think the best way to describe it is like being a concert musician, right? Everyone knows that everything happens outside of the concert hall, right? There's years. Yeah. I mean, they work really hard, a lot harder than I do, but the point is they train outside, right? So when they walk in, they're ready to go. And so the reason why you can make it sound so natural is because you practice the heck out of it. Not even that specific bit, but you've been, you're not, I imagine you're very used to the sound of your own voice. That can be terrifying for actors going into voice work and having to edit their own voice. Yeah. Because if that starts knocking you down, you haven't got a hope in hell. If you can't stand the sound of your own voice and you're getting distracted by that while you're trying to talk and keep to time and all the technical things, the conveying of information, as much, again, as you're making it look really natural, you have a job to do, right? And yeah. No, so I think honestly, that's an incredible tip, and I would have never thought that at all. But of course, it's your own way of training yourself. It's your own way of training that instrument, which is all the brain and the body and the voice together.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you called it an instrument as well. And honestly, on the note of like hearing your own voice, I wasn't necessarily squicked out by my own voice, but I think I had this like weird dissonance like between what I thought my voice was and what my voice actually is. Like I thought my voice was a lot deeper, and then I realized
it resonates in your body differently, right? Because you're hearing it through the bones and your ear canal and all these different ways, in a way that when you just speak, the rest of us are processing it differently.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh yeah, my voice is like really deep. And then like I think one of the first times I heard myself like either like in a recording or on camera, I was like, who is this child? Who is this very excitable child? No. And
Oh,
that took me a long time to
yeah.
get over. But again, just like
Yeah.
talking and then listening to it back, after a while it becomes second nature. And then you fall in love with your own voice and then you don't stop talking. But that's a good thing.
I mean, you're talking to me. We're all friends here. Talking to me, we're all good. Josephine says, thank you. Really appreciate that answer. Super shy as a child and now too.
Yeah.
Josephine does a nice, amazing podcast. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we all said that. I was introverted. I was really shy, and maybe that is like being literally scared of your own voice, or not having that opportunity, not being encouraged to speak, or being shut
very
down, or
much
that
so.
sort of thing. Yeah, fear. So it's really more that than sort of personality trait, I think, a lot of the time.
Yeah, very
the
much
podcast
so.
is called It Is Complicated, and I have appeared twice on it now. I'm gonna go for
So
a hat
good.
trick soon enough, I'm sure, if she'll have me back. So I'm just checking. Checking mod chat there. Nomlet Fromage, hello. Says, what's something people don't think about when it comes to presenting, but has a large positive impact on it?
Ooh, that's a good
And maybe
question.
apart from imagining you're speaking to a friend, because
Yeah.
you said that. That's a great one too.
Yeah, I think some people assume that there is like no research done, that you just kind of show up and you start talking. And I remember when I still had a little bit of like imposter syndrome about my career, that's how I would describe my job. I was like, I just turn up, the cameras go on and I start chatting. And I stopped saying that because I realized that that's actually the perception that people have.
Yes.
But it's like I would spend hours researching and prepping before jobs. And I remember like my mum would like watch me research and like kind of prep and like memorize stuff and scripts, like pages and pages of scripts. And she was like, you really work yourself up. Like I hold so much anxiety. A, it's like nerves. B, it's like adrenaline because I get to do the thing that I love. But C, it was like I have to be perfect and I have to get it right. And oh my God. And I'd make it like such a big deal because I needed to make sure I had every single thing researched. And while I still do the same level of research before every single show, I don't let myself get worked up anymore because I was always expecting things to go bad. When they didn't go bad, I feel like I exceeded my expectation, which that's a whole thing in and of itself. We don't have time to get into.
That's great. That I think the proof was in the pudding, right? You did it. If it went wrong, no one noticed, I imagine, because that happens a lot on stage. We sort of crucify ourselves over mistakes and like literally no one, or they thought it was part of the show. And then with any luck, that feeds itself over time. You know, each time you're successful, each time it doesn't go disastrously wrong, no one dies. You know, all of that. Yeah. You just start that adrenaline, that anxiety, that cortisol goes out of the pitch, and it's smooth sailing. But yeah, there's a lot of us are perfectionists.
Yes, exactly.
I'd say I mean, like my job as well. Like people think I just walk. Well, they think I walk in and do all my work in the booth, and like they'd be murdered for it. But you know, time is money. You charge by the hour. Sometimes the half hour. There's absolutely no way. You go in, you do it in a take or two. That's the job, you know. Like a session musician, they go in, they do it in a take or two, and that's it, because all the work happened outside. They will have, you know, learned a bit of whatever it is, maybe a bit of their own interpretation. So they'll offer that, they'll offer what you think they want, and between them, you've got it. And it's very similar, I think, to what we're all doing. And again, why it's important to document all this stuff. Because you know, we want people to come up after us too, or maybe even right now, who are doing other careers that, you know, maybe they're not 100% in love with, and wanted it, you know,
come over.
People, that's the words. Can inspire. I'm allowed to say that. We can inspire people. It's all good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So research is the big one.
That's a good one. Yeah, thank you for that, actually, because I take that for granted, but like a lot of people don't know that, and I think they come a cropper as well. Like they might have all the best intention in the world, and they might have a really big opportunity, and then they stuff it up because they don't know the rules of this. You know, again, if it's not being documented, where do you start?
No, exactly.
And you might get scared off, and with a bit of practice. I mean, you talked about being, you know, you called it mediocre. I'm sure you weren't at the beginning, and now I know you're a perfectionist. I know you're really hard on yourself. So, but it's that streak that made you excellent at what you do, because you possibly worked harder than most people do. But
as long
as it doesn't cause anxiety, then it's fine.
And it doesn't anymore, which is nice.
Yeah, one of our mods, Mintleaf Mage, is talking about singing lessons, and exactly
Yeah.
that. And it's
Yeah.
so much more obvious, isn't it, with singing, because you either hit that note or you don't.
You
So you know it's
exactly.
working, and again, instrument is a word that's been used here. Yes.
Yeah.
Instrument.
Great word.
Next question. FiaPal25 says, what's your dream event to present at, and why?
Okay. So
Pitch.
yeah. So it's so funny because, obviously we're talking about documenting the industry and, all these games that have come before us. My dream job would be to front a documentary about a documentary series about some of my favorite games and just some games in general. I have very very vivid dreams of doing a documentary on Sky Arts for Metal Gear Solid 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Can you tell I really like sequels? For
I just
Disco
love
Elysium.
it. You're so specific. That's what
Yes.
I love.
Yeah, can you tell this is something I journal about and
I'm glad you're
dream
not
and...
making something up on this. Oh yeah, I dream about this all the time. You actually do have a dream job. No, sorry, I'm interrupting. Carry on.
No. I'm so glad you clocked that because
if you're
I've thought about this a
watching,
lot. Yes.
and I know you're watching.
Sky. Yes.
She's right there.
Right here.
She's
I've
right
got loads of
there.
ideas. Yeah.
Someone said that's a nerd right there. Yes. We're all nerds here.
Yes.
Don't you forget it.
You get it. Yes. Yeah, all of these games that matter to me that I know a lot, they matter to a lot of other people as well. These games that have these really big, I can't even say cult followings. There are
it's mainstream.
Sort of, yeah, they are mainstream.
Just because it's
all
not
of them
being covered
mainstream.
by the mainstream, it feels
Yeah.
like cult, doesn't it? And then you're not so special when you start talking to other people and they've all played it.
No, exactly. I remember thinking
the
when
only
I was
gamer in the village.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
No, you're not special. I remember thinking, oh my god, I because I know a lot about Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and I remember thinking, oh my god, I'm so unique. And I've done all this research. I know so much about the soundtrack and then it turns out that every fan of those games knows the same level of insider info that I do. So not that special at all. But
you do your research, so
I do my
you
research.
win.
And that passion, I want to share that with people and have doing a documentary series like that for a channel like Sky Arts.
Yeah,
I think
it's
is
time.
Just a thing. It's time.
It really
it's time.
is time.
We get documentaries about music, the music process, and
you get documentaries about some really obscure music.
Yeah,
really specific things, and you go, that was fun. Now can we do it about a specific game, please? That more people have been involved with. Please.
Yeah.
Please, Rupert Murdoch.
Please. I'm ready. I'm waiting.
It's not often that I'll beg Rupert Murdoch, or ever. But, there we go. I haven't even had a drink today. Moving on. I hope I'm saying this right. Ivettini, any tips for recovering in an interview or presentation if something suddenly throws you off and frazzles you during it, either for host or interviewee?
This is a fun one, especially because I mentioned about working myself up so much about or for prepping for different shows, and this happened kind of recently where I asked a question in a press junket interview and my question was kind of taken the wrong way, not so offensively, and it was with a very high profile person, and I remember thinking, oh my god, every part of me just wanted my skin to melt off and I just wanted to turn into a puddle, but instead I was just oh well, and then I think I just explained what I meant, and I carried on with the interview.
And they got the right end of the stick at that point.
Still not actually.
Not actually. Okay,
still
so you
not
knew
actually.
Then it wasn't on you.
Yeah, I think I was oh yeah, no, I don't think that's my problem.
That's good.
Which sounds really
negative.
That's
so important to have that voice in your head going, oh, that's a you thing. Okay,
that's a you thing, but also oh, okay, that one was a dud. That's okay. I had to learn because of this experience I had where I was always really hard on myself and always building everything up to the nth degree. how I actually recovered from that was I just took every job, like one job at a time. I could, like, as soon as it was done, as soon as I heard it's a wrap, that's where, not that I would stop caring, but that's where I would kind of drop off
Yeah, that's
everything
so
that I built up,
healthy.
and that was it. So, and that was what I
Thing.
kind of had to employ, like in that moment
Yeah.
where that question wasn't necessarily taken well. I was just like, okay, and moving on, like dropped it
Yeah.
and then moved on. So
I mean, that's the thing, isn't
how I
it,
had to
about
approach
the inner critic? I don't know how many people in chat have heard about that, but
Mm.
basically it's a horrible voice. Well, no, it's actually, well, it is a horrible voice because it can be
Yeah.
negative, right? And then go, oh, you really messed up. So you're listening to that, and then which sabotages the present. Basically, you
Yes.
can't move
Yeah,
on
yeah.
because you're. So then, you know, like at the beginning, I think a good example of that, because we do lots of training to get rid of that voice. Like, like it's the first thing you do. Well, at Guildhall where I trained was like there was a full-on term called it the little fucker. Little fucker on your shoulder, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Going, oh dear, that was awful. Now, I could have tried to plow through with the problems with the Wi-Fi at the beginning, right? But I didn't. Took a pause, tried to sort it out. Thankfully, it did sort out. And then you get back and you move on. But if you punish yourself about that, and I know it's not you're not doing it deliberately, it's just a habit, isn't it? It's a voice, it's an unfortunate internal thing that your brain does. It's going to stop you for the rest of the thing. And I'm really glad that you allowed me to take that time, and chat was very kind and just let me do that, because otherwise the rest of the interview just would have been I would have been so regretful, especially having someone who's a mate like Shay on and just going, I got scuppered by things out of my control, when in fact like it's about just on your own terms taking the reins again and go, okay, didn't work, move on. And that's great. It's just a great skill, and I think it is a skill to have. And like with you, it was experience, wasn't it, essentially? And like you pretty much trained yourself, which is just really inspiring, to be honest. I think chat are going to love that. I don't know about the path into this, and I don't know how people do it, and it's just great that you've done that.
It's very kind.
But it's true. Sesame Snap Titbit, I'm sure I've pronounced that correctly. Sesame Snap Titbit says, dealing with imposter syndrome while presenting.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, I definitely had this.
Off in McLaren. So.
Yeah. So I kept on being like, are they for real? I was like, are you sure? Like, do you really want to do this? Are you sure? And I think I just had to. It took me a very long time, I have to say, like, because we did an entire season of the show. And at every point I was like, this is wild, and it would get like a lot of views, and like the feedback was like 90% positive. Like for a community, like sim racing is known as being like very male dominated, and so I was like bracing myself for it to be like very harsh feedback, but a lot of it was still really nice, and I was like, oh my god, the penny's gonna drop at one point, and that'll be that.
I'm gonna
find out, like I shouldn't be here. But I just thought about it, and this is gonna sound very questionable, but I was basically like, do white men, do the vast majority of white men, you know, in my position, would they give this a second thought? The second, third, fourth thought like I have and like I'm doing right now? No. And like, regardless of like, you know, you haven't worked your way up like in the games industry, which is not true. I said that to myself, but I'm like, that's not true. I still put my time in. I'd been working my way up since birth for this moment, and it was something I didn't take lightly. So I have worked, I have put in the time, I do deserve this. Just kind of being your own little cheerleader. And it also helps like having a village around you, having that community that do also kind of support
on your
you
side as well, you know,
like listen to them, like actually listen to your friends when they tell you that feedback. Don't just dismiss it as them being biased. Like actually listen to your friends, listen to the people that you love, like giving you that positive feedback, because I'm sure they're not saying it for no reason, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say just the other thing about the I'm gonna say little fucker because I've forgotten what I called it before. Inner critic, little fucker.
Yes.
The other thing it does is it flatters you, and that's can be worse. It'll go, that was really good, you were great, and then you forget where you were.
Yep. Yeah.
And then you go, aha, got you, you idiot, you shouldn't have listened to me. And it's like, what? So as I said, with the training, I don't know, like I guess therapy would be a good idea for anyone that can't get to full 3-year active training in the UK. I don't know how much of this is done outside of active training, but it was absolutely, particularly when you've got like, it's for live theatre really, when something just goes wrong, or the cue didn't hit or whatever, it's basically distraction. Don't be distracted by it. Trust in yourself. Trust you're meant to be. Like, pretty much like you said, like every moment in your life has led up to this moment, and that'll keep you there. That's really special. You're meant to be here, and there's no one true career path. I know that like mainstream media likes to talk about career trajectory. Mine's been like that, and then it did that, and then it's just back. That's what's happened. It's fine. There's no trajectory. There's no guarantee in any of this. But what's nice about social media, when it is nice, is that we do get to harness that, and we're not reliant on other people's money or the approval of the majority, I suppose. Or essentially you were talking about mediocre white men and the confidence that they have, quite famously.
Yes.
Because they've been told they belong here, and they've been shown repeatedly that they belong here because they see themselves everywhere. So I think this day and age is great because there's such a variety, and in some ways TikTok's algorithm I have a problem with, but in some ways it's pretty democratic, right? If you can get a camera up and running and record it and get it out there, then it's out there and people can find it. And I think it's a great age to live in, having grown up on TV.
Don't rob
voice.
Don't rob other people of the opportunity of getting to know you. That's the thing that I was like always telling myself and like always having to internalize. Like, I have all of these thoughts. I have all of this love to share about video games, these worlds that I love. Share that with people. And like, I say all of this, like this is advice that I still need to remember like every single day. Like, I get so self-conscious about like tweeting or sharing stuff on Instagram is a little bit different because like it's all kind of pictures. But yeah, for some reason, tweeting and then sharing like videos, even though it's like the thing that I love doing and the thing I know how to do, there is still that voice. I see people like in the chat who have like named their inner critics. I'm like, maybe I should do the same. Like, just being able to kind of suppress that a little bit. Yeah, Mavis, I think, is a great name.
That's quite neutral. I like that. You want neutral with inner critic. You don't want to be too judgmental because it'll come and bite you back. So
exactly. So
That's great. Thank you for that.
No worries.
Now, I think we've got 2 more left. If that's okay. Friend Milk. Thank you. Great name. How do you maintain a healthy relationship with having an audience / existing publicly / performing as yourself for a living? How do you maintain a healthy relationship with having an audience existing, publicly performing as yourself for a living? Thank God. This is coming from someone who made Karlach art that went viral for a day on Twitter 5 months ago and got so scared they've barely posted since.
Aww.
Sorry, I find that really funny. It's like when you like something and they go, "Oh, Sam saw me," and you're like, "Well, you tagged me." You tagged me. Can I respond?
Yeah, this is a funny one because like I don't necessarily have like the biggest social media followings, which I'm so annoyed at myself for not curating that more because I was just like, work will always be there, it'll be fine. So I never stopped to properly curate a social media platform. But I think at the height of like my social media usage, where I used to get like DMs a lot and just a lot of like comments from other people, I'm gonna say something that is gonna sound controversial. I don't mean it to be like a judgment on anybody else. One thing about me, I'm gonna step away from my phone. My phone is almost always on do not disturb. Like, I have notifications like turned off everywhere. Like, even though I am chronically online and have been literally my entire life, like I just don't internalize it as much as some people do. Like, I think it's so important to have interests outside of your kind of like internet-based ones, and just like social media in general. So I took up events organizing and like production managing for events as a hobby. And it's something that I do like every 2 weeks. So I really throw myself into that. And that's something I really enjoy. And then I'm also like really into fitness and like movement and stuff. And so that honestly, that's where I spend the majority of my time. I just try not to get swept up in the kind of validation that comes with social media. And I say all of that to say it is easier said than done, because sometimes you see those likes and you're like, oh, people.
But it's designed like that, right? It's designed for the little fake dopamine hit. I've achieved something today. Randoms have hit a button.
But the problem is I think I've swung so far in the other direction where now I don't care about social media.
And I should. Versus validation.
Yeah.
Which one do you choose? But no, I know what you're saying. But I also think like you're launching something new. If you haven't been listening, I mean, this will be a VOD, but Shay's working on something very special. It's coming at the end of April. I think it'll pick. I think it's all swings and roundabouts. I've got a couple of things coming up as well. I'm hoping there'll be some new people. We've got a feature game show coming up. Hopefully it's not a disaster. Yeah, I don't want them following me because they've like come to neg me. I want them following because they go, wow, who's this person? I'm going to find out some of the new thirsty tweets they've been sending to sell merch. There's merch. There's village merch.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think it's actually really healthy, and I think a lot of, again, with people who've only grown up on social media, because that's happening. Yeah, I just hope they have a really good sense of self, because I think that's most of it. Like, you run the risk of being called arrogant. I've had that problem in my life. This comes from my mother. My mother's got the self-confidence of, wow, of like 200 people, right? And that was instilled in me. And like, at the end of the day, it's a more stoic thing, I suppose, without going on too much about it. But basically, like, the idea of stoicism is you create your own virtue. For other people, it's like it's a religious text, right? There are rules, you follow them. But if you're stoic, you create your own rules. And if you live up to them, no one can touch you. That's the thing. Like, why would you care what anyone has to say about you if you're your own living example of what a good person is, or however you want to define that? That's it. That's the secret, you know. And people have been doing that quite naturally for years. I think because social media is tied so closely to commerce, to commercials, to spending, of course it's there to destabilize you and to make you feel that you need to buy the thing, or you need to engage. That FOMO, endless FOMO, but it used to just be like, you know, drink Coca-Cola, you'll be sexy. And now it's just like, if you haven't watched this viral video, or who are you, do you deserve to exist? No, you don't. You know, it can be, and you know, we're all in our bubbles, and bubbles can be great, you know, when they're safe spaces, but they can also be incredibly toxic. So I think again, with Village, you know, I talk about Village. I use Village because, well, first it's a well-known saying, but second of all, it sort of conjures this idea of a physical space that might be a bit outside with real humans,
where grass is present.
And grass is present. You're allowed to touch
where you can
it.
touch.
You can hold your friends' hands, and we can support each other. But you know, it's great. Of course, it's great to have online communities, and especially when you actually know them in real life. But there's nothing that beats that in real life. Yeah, that real life. Well, friendships, essentially, connection. Only connect, Ian Forster. That's what we want. Yeah, I'm going to literature. I'm doing literature this week.
We're covering it all.
Doing it all.
No.
All of us have a brush with English literature, by the way. I think all of us do at some point. Like, we liked reading stories, and we like narrative, and I think sort of come to this. I think that's what we've got in common. That's the easy one, isn't it? I did it as a degree. Got to Skype for 3 years. I don't want to be a teacher. What's happening? What do you mean there's nothing else I can do with this?
How dare you?
How dare you? I was having fun reading books. All right, I think we've got the last question, which is pretty good, actually. This is really specific.
Ooh.
I'll let you answer first, unless you're thinking about an answer. That's all I'm going to say, because I've had a chance to read this. I'm not sure you have. Swing Set Theory. Again, great name. Great name.
Fantastic.
Yeah, for both. And chat as well. Chat, join in. How do you feel about the increased, fingers crossed, inclusivity in, it says BRE, and similar region accents that were previously currently stigmatized, typically, typically, for example, Emily, some northern dialects due to racism, classism, bigotry, etc., and the lessening, thankfully, pressure on some VAs and presenters to code switch from their natural dialect when the role has no demand for it. So, yeah, basically, I think what they're saying is, you know, I've certainly felt this in my lifetime, there's less pressure to put on a posh accent or do other people's accents. Has that been something you've had to contend with?
I love this question because, I don't think I've ever been asked a question like this before, and it's something that I've been thinking about, especially recently. I've had some people ask me, like, where is your accent from? And I think it's because when I was growing up, I watched a lot of like American things, American films, TV shows. So there are some pronunciations I have where I like really exaggerate my R's, because I felt like that was a very American thing. I say all of this to say, when I'm at home, when I'm like with my family and like my sister and like people I grew up with, I do slip into more of an Emily accent. But I now have this, whatever voice this is right now, this has become my default. Even though it's not very posh, because I still drop my T's. Been told that a lot.
So
like
do
presenting
RP
sessions.
speakers now.
Yeah. Yeah, very, which trying to appear more relatable.
Yeah,
Anyway,
maybe it's
that's
not quite Mockney. In the old days, they would,
no, yeah,
they would
yeah,
change
well, yeah,
class as well. But
exactly. I say all of that to say I felt like in order to be a presenter, I had to speak with this very curated, almost idea of what a London accent is. And
yeah,
now, and so what I've now just been left with is the remains of this, which has some parts of like how I used to speak when I was younger, but then it's still like kind of curated and very not posh. I think it's like cosplaying as posh is what my accent is. Um, and I just wish I didn't feel that pressure to code switch. I wish I didn't feel that or previously felt that pressure to like be really like I guess play into the ideas of what articulate is and what like eloquent is. I just wish I'd
yeah,
not let that pressure get to me so much. And I'm glad that we're kind of moving away from that and you are hearing more presenters with northern accents
yeah,
and with like more Emily. Like I want to hear that like all the time. It puts me at ease. As someone from London, literally like Tottenham born and raised. So
same
love hearing
us.
that. Hell
Born
yeah.
in the
Love
same
it.
hospital,
I know.
quite a few
We
years
bonded
apart.
over that.
Same in at the same time, we're twins. We're twins. No, that was quite funny when we first met in North
I
Middlesex.
know.
North
I was like, people have never heard of North Mid. So yeah, it was great. That's
Mother
so
curses
good.
them to the day, but should have the best time here. I'm just asking the swing set theory what BRE means because I wasn't quite sure what that means. So sorry about the abbreviations. I work adjacent to both your industries as a computational linguist
Whoa.
and as a queer
Ooh.
POV woman. And for the compliment on the username, it's a math pun. Sure, you nerd. See what I did there? Still oppress the other nerds. Oppress the other nerds. No, we're literature nerds here.
Yes,
we do
very
none of that
much
math
so.
stuff, programming. Was Emily again multicultural? Something English.
Yeah, like
always forget what
I
the
want to
other
say it's
is.
London English or something like
Yes,
that.
it is. It
yes.
is. It's multicultural London
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
thank you. BRE's British English. Thank you. We
I
have a lot of
see.
Americans
Yes.
in chat. We have to be really careful. Yeah, from my point of view, first of all, yes, everything you said. And I'm going to answer the rest of the question, which is about doing other people's accents also. So when I started, and it's not that long ago, you had to do all the accents because they weren't going to actually employ a real northern person. They were going to get someone like me from London who's had the kind of the London kicked out of them quite a bit. This voice has had a bit of Emily kicked out of itself.
Yeah.
And it's habit, and I notice, it's a class thing as well. There's a lot of masquerading as being middle class. I just like going again. I just like upsetting people. Like it's so easy to troll people in film theatre and TV by not being white and upper middle class, basically.
Yeah.
And male.
Yep.
So sort of hello, just going to be honest about things. I don't like it. So yeah, back in the day, a few years ago, you'd be doing accents, and if I was doing, it was just cheaper as well for them. So if I was doing, and it was. The actual product was pretty cool, right? It's English. It'd be English for speakers of, second language, third language, fifth language, particularly in technical stuff. So I did English for mechanical engineering and English for doctors. So it'd all be very throwaway and straightforward. And then the difficulty was actually all the technical terms because, you're playing someone giving a lecture or whatever, and you go around the country. I say you go around the country and they'd say, Sam, how's your northern accent, darling? And I go, well, which part of the north? Oh, well, just do a northern accent. Oh, no. You see, the thing is, right? Like, if they hear someone from Bolton versus if they hear someone from Newcastle, like, you've got to make that distinction. Oh, my God, if I said Newcastle or Birmingham, oh, no, darling, no one wants to hear that. Well, I think they do, actually, because I think this is what the whole point of this exercise was, is so when they hear an accent that isn't RP or sending as BBC English in the old days, that they're not thrown off by it, because something like a Geordie Newcastle accent was not represented at all, pretty much, out even within the UK, and it's sort. I guess it's it's a Nordic. It comes from like a Nordic accent, actually. I think there's a lot of slang in common that Norwegians and Geordies have. This is a fact. But they're very different. They come from Viking stock. They've got a really different accent. And then you've got like a North Yorkshire accent that's going to be really different to a Lancashire accent. Or they'd say, "Oh, you're Scottish, darling. We do love that. Do that again." I was like, "Well, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Dundee, what?" And I'm doing an approximation as well, but they're not actually going to get a real, and then that becomes like, you become known for it. So then there's a drama and you do that accent in the drama. And then the more you do, the more profile you get, the more you're shutting out the people that are authentically would quite like their stories told. Now that's changing.
Yeah.
It's changing quite quickly. And it's really, and this is another thing in games why us actors help each other out so much, like even the things that aren't accent, like Amelia Tyler passed up on a job once. It was a demo, but it could have been made into a full game because the main character's mixed race, and so she suggested me because she wasn't comfortable being associated with it. And good for her, thank you, by the way, but also good for her going, no, I don't think this is right. I don't think it's right for me to portray this. And I've had the same situation. There's such a dearth of black women voices that I sometimes get the job and I go, really no, and there's an old thread on Twitter where I was just like, I'm done with this. If you're a black woman with a home studio, can you please tweet at me? And then I would just pass the list on because I'm like, I don't even know these women, but I managed to find them. What's the excuse?
You did the thing of like putting it out there and just asking. Like, you cared. Whereas they're like, oh well, you'll do, and I'm like, oh, but that's not. Let's do a little bit more work. It comes back to like the whole hair conversation as well. Like, just doing a little bit of work, just caring. Just caring,
There's never the excuse about time, money. Well, the thing is about systematic oppression is that these things are in place to keep people out. It's going to take time and money to undo a lot of this stuff. That's just fact. That's the thing. Levita says it can be quite awkward to be a techie person with a regional accent in a room whilst everyone with default RP is trying to do the accent. Yeah, that's pretty gross and classist by the sounds of it. I'm really sorry you're going through that. You just have to become their boss. And then force them to do an accurate version of your accent. That's it. That becomes a new RP.
My old housemate was in Dead Island 2, which came out, I think it was last year, and people were kind of going nuts over her accent. So for context, she's Irish. She's from Limerick, and people were like, I hope this is like a real like Irish person do this accent. If it's not, it's really good. And I was like, like people are talking about Michelle like so positively, and it was just like, it hadn't dawned on me, like obviously I've been watching the lack of representation like as a black woman like for years now, but then I was like, yeah man, even when it comes to like different accents and different voices, like there is just, people are crying out for it, and it's just really wrong and really lazy, and it has been for a very long time, which sucks. Which really sucks. It's getting better though.
Sorry, Shaka says, no one Irish could do a good Limerick accent. I'm Irish and I can't do a Limerick accent. We had this with the Welsh on the stream the other week. Like, no one in Wales does a Welsh accent. If you get it wrong, you're in trouble. My late father's from Cork. Carrickby! It's really specific.
Very specific.
You'll be really careful about that. Yeah, and then there's wars between Cork and everyone else. Because why not? So I'm not going to do it. But yeah, you tied to class. We've got race. We've got like perceived income. We've got regionalism. Let's put that out there. All of that. But it is getting broken down. It is getting broken down. Sometimes at speed compared to like other intersections as well. Yeah. Oh, chat is on fire.
Love it.
Corkonian is very particular. See, everyone's here tonight. Everyone is in chat. You never know who's watching. Tarot Hunter says a big one for me is seeing people who are clearly not deaf playing deaf characters. I can spot them a million miles away. Yeah, just like there are accents, dialects in English, and there are in ASL as well. Exactly that. And like I think games is actually catching up really quick. You know what? I think I can say this. I'm going to say this. See, everything feels controversial when you in an industry that's run by NDAs. 2 of the trailers in the FGS Spring Showcase that will come out in a couple of weeks have black female protagonists. And you just go, you've waited your whole life for one. This is like Desi characters last year, Venba and Thirsty Suitors, like 2 games, and they were both Tamil as well, like really specifically Tamil. So yeah, there were 2 this year. 'Cause I've seen
It's
the
so
I did my
wild.
homework and I watched the trailers, so I've seen them.
Yes, research. It all goes back to research.
Yeah.
That's wild, and like it shouldn't get a kick out of me. Like but I'm still so excited. I'm like, because I'm like, it's two in a drop of like in the drop of the ocean amongst like
Yeah.
how many white protagonists. But I'm still just like,
And
that's
I
a
think
big
it's,
deal.
it's really promising because, you know, thinking about how long the dev cycle is, right? And we've always been told when they get the casting wrong, because they'll go public with the actors' faces, and you go, you couldn't find. There was just no one you can find. You know, and not excuse, but the explanation is that basically it was very easy to draw people, and then that's kind of locked in quite early on. It's really hard to change later on, especially if you've been really specific. You know, and I get that to a degree, but you know, think about it more. Get the actors involved sooner. Maybe work with them. Crazy idea. But yes, two are coming. Yeah. At least one is sci-fi, and I can't remember what the other one was. But
so excited.
Some sort of fantasy thing. Yeah. Exciting. And that's more. One was sort of one's AAA, and the other one I'm not sure. But it's going to be featured, and we'll be cheering along. And I'm really excited about that.
Cheering
Americans
loudly.
are having a great time talking about accents and stuff. I look forward to seeing you at cons later this year and offending all of you. Feel free to do your British accent at me, whatever that means. We'll all mutually upset each other. It's great. It's called banter. It means we love each other. It's fine.
The way God intended.
The way God intended. Well, on that bombshell, I think we're done for tonight. Unless there's anything else that you want to say, Shay. I think we're good.
No, I just honestly, I really appreciated chatting about myself as an interviewer, a professional interviewer. No one asked me. Yeah, no one asked me how I'm doing. So like, a good few hours just talking about myself and my career and our friendship and just like reminiscing, like so many things like coming back to me because obviously it's been a while. Like we met like in what 2019
like 5 years ago. Or
yeah, that's a very long time ago. So yeah, it's just been nice to kind of go down this trip. Down memory lane with you, and also just and I'm gonna do this now. Just seeing, like I've always thought you were incredibly talented. I knew you were a star. I had Sam as one of my first guests at Level Up Link Up, which was an in-person event I used to run.
I'm so sorry I didn't mention that.
No, are you kidding?
It was early 2020 when everything was so promising.
Oh yeah, when everything was so promising. When
and again, I hadn't done anything yet, and bless you, gave me a platform.
Yeah,
and I'll always appreciate that.
Just hearing you talk about your craft and just how amazing you are, like I was so blown away. And also I was like, oh my god, this actor wants to come to my event. Like I was so blown away. Just so, it was this really great feedback loop of just really cool people appreciating each other. And at a time in my career where I still had loads of doubt, loads of just internal conflicts, just seeing how much you advocated for me, how much you believed in me, and then seeing your star just kind of take off and explode, and then you sharing your amazingness with other people and loads of other people at that. It's just incredible to watch, and you're the best.
Shut up. Someone said in chat that they went to that Level Up Link Up and we were both awesome, so haha.
What?
You try and embarrass me. Yeah. Oh yeah. There we got lots of friends in chat. I mean the message on this show, we're talking about the games industry and our friendships, but I think that we talk about villages. Have your own village. Have the people that support you. Surround yourself by people that love you and that you love, and that's really it's for this mayhem with the what's coming. I think there's a recession again. There's another once in a lifetime recession that's coming. Just connections, humans that look out for each other. I think that's it. That's my message on Earth. It's just be good to each other.
Be good to each other. Be nice. And be willing to love people. Like open your heart up to love. Like I am such a cornball. In addition to being a nerd and super goofy, I'm such a cornball. I love. Like love each other, man. Like it costs nothing and it means the world. Like I celebrated a pretty big birthday this past weekend, and after everyone had left and I'd done a million speeches because I love doing that, I just burst into tears. My sister and my cousin were like trying to like dab my face and like not let me ruin my makeup, which they failed at, so I did ruin it. But just being like so overcome with like love, like it will really kind of keep you going in the kind
in
of
an
quietest
industry where
times.
people, I mean, an industry that people famously burn out of, but of course people
Yeah.
burn out all the time and everywhere, you know, and again,
Yeah.
don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And so much of it is down to this mutual support, like outside of your family, your found family, your chosen people that you have, you know. That's it. We're talking about love.
We're talking about love. It's that point in the night.
I know, and I haven't had a drop of alcohol or
I know, I
drugs
was like,
before we
yeah.
start chat.
It's like being at the club, and then that point in the night where you just like start pouring out all of your love to your friends.
The lights have come on. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care. I'm sweating. I look down. Don't care. I'm spitting my truth. That's it.
So just love each other. That's the takeaway. That's my one piece of advice.
Thank you, Shay. What an amazing point to end on. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna say goodbye to you, and I'm gonna shill some stuff, and I'm gonna catch up with chat a little bit. And just once again, thank you so much for your time tonight. Just love literally getting to know you a bit more, as well as catching up with you. And people are loving it in chat because, as I said, they're very sensible people here. On It Takes
They're
a
the
Village.
best. Yes, it does.
I'll see you soon at a thing, I imagine.
I will. A thing very soon, which is very exciting for us both. But thanks for having me, and thanks for being so nice, chat.
You've been on my list for a very long time, so it's just about getting the time right. Thank you again, and goodbye, Shay. See you soon.
Bye.
Great, amazing. Look, we've just had some raiders come in at the end. Hello, raiders. I think I missed the notification for that, unless there was another technical glitch. Once again, thank you so much, Shay. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for kind of making me cry. For those of you that missed the beginning and all the technical bullshit, there's a few things coming up. So there's a few things not coming up as well. So there's no stream next week. I unfortunately had the next guest postpone, and then I went, why don't I just take a break for a week? So I'm gonna do that. And then this is coming up with the internet's baby girl Ben Starr, and I'm allowed to tag along for some reason. It's called the Feature Game Show Spring Showcase, and it's lots of trailers, and we're going to try and make it entertaining for you. I promise we will justify our presence there. We did have a giveaway because we have merch now. Why not? We did have merch. Look, there's me in a hat. Look at the hat. And posting thirst traps to the internet forever and ever. That's a mug. It's called Radical Self-Care Mug, and let me thank you very much, Mintleaf Mage, for tagging that in there. Hopefully that will pop up. We have merch for Village. Yeah, so that's really cool. There we go. That's come up now, and we also have charity. Obviously, just don't give your money to Jeff. Don't tell him I said that. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need 50% of what you give to streamers, or to me anyway. I'm not living off this. I'm good. I got Streamily. We've got autographs. We have autographs. You can buy them. You can have a physical thing in your show, in your home, not just a shout out on a show. Very exciting stuff. Yeah, thank you very much for joining tonight. It was a lovely crowd as ever, but really fun. Sometimes I don't know presenting so well, so thank you for all the amazing questions and being awesome. Yes, you do need my autograph, Ginger Nana. Please do go to Streamily and get that. If you lovely lot mods who keep this place happy and friendly and safe, you could think about someone to raid. I haven't been looking at who's online, I'm sorry. If you don't mind doing that, let me know. That'll be amazing. And then, so no stream next week. Week after, and week after that will be True Colours, where we will murder somebody. I will make that happen. I'm not sure the game's going to let me, but I'm just thinking of murder for most of it because I'm really role playing quite hard there. So yes, all praise to the mods, and just wonderful. What a wonderful chat tonight. Let's have a look. Oh, Fraser's on. Is Fraser on? Can we raid Fraser, please? Haven't seen him in some time. My love, Damon. That would be amazing. Thank you. Yeah, so just expect more thirst traps. Buy my merch. There's one that says join a union. Take it to your meeting. Please don't get fired. Unless that's how you want to go. It's pretty legendary. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, if we could start the raid, that would be great. So yeah, we've had some really lovely donations for Malala Fund Day. This is all wrong. This total's wrong. So we're not going to do that. We'll go here instead. We've had a lot of gifted subs. Thank you very much for that. And yes, expect more thirst traps. Buy my merch. That's it. We're shilling this. That's the era we're in now. Let's see if I can see while we do the raid. While you leave, I'll just see if there's anything else. Yes, $675 for Malala Fund, helping girls around the world, educating them, giving them more options in their lives, giving them choice. Isn't that a wonderful thing? International Women's Day is International Women's Month. Thank you for watching. Keep an eye out on Twitter, and also like the off-air screen has all the dates and times because it's a bit higgledy-piggledy this month. Thank you for your patience, and I'll see you shortly. Till next time, bye bye.